liked about this course is that it gives you a good opportunity to try out lots of different areas. So everybody does get to do an older adult placement, a learning disability placement, child placement and an adult placement.
My placement has been in child and adolescent mental health service. So I've been doing assessments of children and young people coming in with various mental health difficulties.
It's been challenging but really, really fun. How it tends to be is that we follow the same terms as Oxford University. So we have 10 weeks of teaching, followed by a break from teaching, another 10 weeks and so on. It's 1 day a week of teaching when we all see each other. And then the other 3 days of the week will be on a placement, so doing clinical work with our supervisors. And then there's 1 day a week where we have a study day to work on our own reflections and our own academic submissions.
So my placement I'm on at the moment is older adults placement, and that's based out in Banbury. And I've done a real variety of things. Actually, I think more variety than I expected actually.
I'm really glad that it took me those few years to get here, because the experience that I had in that time was so invaluable in developing my skills and competencies that I don't think I would be the same on this course if I didn't.
Absolutely. I think just speaking to people, if you can get a chance to speak to a clinical psychologist who I think kind of helpful in terms of kind of pointing me in the directions of vacancies that people might be interested in, but also just to kind of get a very real sense of what the job's like. I think that was really useful.
Getting to be with people, so you spend your working life being with people who are distressed for whatever reason, and you get to make a difference in that.
Helping to teach a course for kind of junior doctors, junior medics, teaching them CBT, which I think has been really valuable kind of for both of us really. It's been really kind of eye-opening in terms of kind of the kind of experience and way of working that they're used to, and kind of I think it's been a really interesting kind of experience from my first placement. Really glad I had a chance to do that.
Being on placement, I have felt quite well supported, and coming back and seeing your year group and being able to have conversations with staff over break times and during lectures, then going back to placement has been a good way to feel supported, feel like if something's not been working or not gone how you thought it would, you can think that through with somebody quite promptly.
Particularly in terms of things like leadership and research, I just think I wouldn't have any idea about those things if I hadn't worked in those settings and kind of experienced it and kind of seen the areas where hopefully we can go afterwards and make positive changes and kind of lead with compassion and things like that. And going to an assistant psychologist group in my area made a huge difference, and that was where I actually got my first assistant role, was through a voluntary role I heard about through that group, just because I asked someone, is there anything? And they had, and that was kind of what got me in touch with the right people. Because there is this real sort of atmosphere of competition and pressure amongst kind of aspiring trainees. And yet, when you actually kind of bound together, I really found that we shared a lot of skills and a lot of experience and a lot of went to a lot of interesting conferences and things like that with other assistant psychologists, other support workers, and we learned so much just bouncing with each other because we were all eager and keen. And then kind of the ultimate thing that really made the difference after that was just when I started to have really high quality clinical supervision.
I think it's been quite tricky every 6 months going into a new team and having to start again and build up those relationships. So I always find after my 6-month placement I've really started to settle in and sort of feel at home, and then it's a case of going on to your next placement.
It's just the goalpost is getting on the course, and that is the kind of goal. But actually seeing it, looking back, I see it more as a process. Those years of experience are part of your your path in your career in clinical psychology, not just a filler before you get on the course, and that actually that's it's part of your learning experience, part of your training is having that direct clinical experience before you get in there.
I suppose what I really like about clinical psychology is the way that it can bring a really different and alternative viewpoint into mental health and physical health services. So thinking about our formulation skills and bringing in psychological knowledge, theory and research into clinical practice to encourage people to think in a slightly different way about people's problems and maybe the way that we can understand and work with difficulties, which I think is quite a unique position for us.
I think it's a really exciting prospect to think about, where we might all be in 18 months' time. And people come with ideas around that, and then, there's one person who's on her learning disabilities placement just now and absolutely loves it and hadn't expected that or had experience of it. So for me, we still have another 6 months worth of new placement to go, and I'm really excited to see what I make of that and how that will influence my decisions.
I think my favourite thing about clinical psychology probably is the emphasis on research and evidence, and how that kind of contributes not only to kind of working psychologically with people with mental health difficulties, but how that might impact on the kind of wider ways of working in the NHS. It's been really interesting.